Hey everyone, ready to dive into some serious autumn vibes. You know that feeling, right? Like the air's getting crisp, you want to cozy up your space and like maybe host a dinner party or two.
It's the nesting instinct.
Yeah, exactly. So whether you are already knee deep in pumpkins or just like starting to think about breaking out those sweaters, we've got a really fascinating deep dive for you today.
Yeah, this is fun.
We're taking a look at autumn tablescapes and not just the like what to put on your table, but the deeper why behind those trends that are popping up everywhere you look.
The psychology of a tablescape.
Yes, we are getting deep here. So we've been poring over this Pinterest board just packed with visual inspiration and also digging into this article highlighting all the like hottest decor elements for autumn 2024.
I love it.
So much to unpack. Ready? Let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Okay, one of the first things that just jumped out at me from this Pinterest board, like it's a visual feast, is the color palettes.
Okay.
Because they are way more nuanced than you might think.
Right.
Like, obviously, we are seeing those, like, classic autumn colors, oranges, browns, but there's this whole other layer of, like, rich greens and warm toffee and, like, chocolate hues, even some, like, pops of rust and faded brick.
And isn't it interesting how those warmer tones really start to appeal to us at this time of year?
It's true.
Like after a summer of, bright, really energetic colors, I think we kind of crave that sense of grounding.
Yeah.
Like coziness,
Yeah.
Those colors, they just evoke that feeling of being closer to nature.
Absolutely. And that is so much of what this season is all about, right? That, like, return to, like, warmth and comfort.
Yeah. And I think especially as the days get shorter, we're spending more time indoors.
Yeah.
It makes sense that we want to bring those natural elements inside.
Exactly. And speaking of bringing things inside, I noticed so many of these tablescapes are blending rustic and elegant elements in this really cool way.
So yeah, it's like that modern farmhouse vibe, but with a little something extra.
Yes, exactly. Like, picture this, okay? You've got all these beautiful, like, natural wood textures, right? And then next to them, you've got, like, these elegant transferware plates.
Oh, classy.
So classy. Or these like gleaming metallic accents, maybe a brass candlestick or a copper serving dish, and it all just works.
I love that juxtaposition. And, I think it speaks to that desire we have for gatherings to feel both authentic and special.
Yeah.
Like the rustic elements bring in that warmth, that nostalgia, like a
Yeah.
sense of simplicity and tradition. But then those elegant touches kind of elevate the whole experience.
Yes, 100%.
They add intentionality, like, someone really put thought into this. This is a celebration.
And it's welcoming, right? Like, come as you are, relax, enjoy, but we're also going to, like, savor this moment.
It's mindful.
It's mindful. Okay, and speaking of things that just scream autumn, we've got to talk about pumpkins.
Oh, of course. Pumpkins are non-negotiable.
And I'm not just talking about your like standard jack-o'-lantern, although those are great too. But we're seeing people get so creative with pumpkins, like every shape and size and color imaginable, and often paired with other like natural elements like dried flowers and foliage, things like that.
Which I think really taps into that whole bringing the outdoors in thing we were talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's something this article really emphasizes too.
Right, like I was going to say, they're all about it.
Like they were saying that using those natural elements, especially in like those more raw and unrefined states, it brings this warmth and texture and like seasonal color that you just can't get from artificial decor,
Absolutely. And they talk a lot about the sensory experience too, which I thought was fascinating. Like,
Yeah.
for example, they were saying how a simple, like earthy pumpkin centerpiece, it's not just visually appealing, but it actually triggers this subconscious association with abundance and harvest.
It's true. Like even just looking at a pumpkin, it just makes you feel abundant.
And they said the same thing about using like rustic wood, whether it's like a rough-hewn table runner or just a simple wooden bowl. They said it instantly adds warmth and like that cozy lived-in vibe.
Like this is a home, this is a lived-in space.
Yes.
This is cozy.
Exactly.
This is where it's at.
And then you can always like elevate that with those metallic accents, which we talked about earlier. And the article really emphasizes how they add a layer of sophistication, especially when you get those little glimmers of candlelight bouncing off of them.
Oh, speaking of candlelight, we have to talk about candlelight.
Yes. So important.
Because it's more than just like an aesthetic choice, right?
Totally.
You're engaging all the senses. You've got that soft flickering light, the warmth, even that really subtle scent that candles give off.
Mm-hmm.
And it all just works together to create this ambiance of intimacy and warmth that you just can't replicate with overhead lighting.
Absolutely. And this article even gets into like the nitty-gritty of how to use candlelight effectively, like creating visual interest through contrast. you know,
Yes.
and using different types of candlelight to set the mood.
I love that.
Like, are you going for romantic? Are you going for like festives?
Exactly.
And it all comes back to, your personal style.
And you know what I think is so cool about this whole conversation is it really highlights how our homes and like our tablescapes in particular can be such a powerful form of self-expression.
Yes.
Like you're creating this experience for your guests and it really reflects you
Totally.
and what you
Yeah.
value.
And it's not about just like copying what you see on Pinterest or in a magazine, right?
Right.
It's about taking those ideas, understanding the why behind them, and then making them your own.
100%.
So as you are planning your own autumn tablescapes this year, here's something to think about. If our homes are reflections of ourselves, what story do you want your autumn table to tell?
Ooh, I love that.
Right.
That's deep.
What's your story?
Food for thought?
Food for thought, exactly. And probably some literal food, too, because, fall gatherings,
Always.
all the good food.
Yes.
All right, until next time, everyone, happy decorating.